Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the vast expanse of human experience, uncovering the intricate tapestry of events that have shaped our world. Today, we embark on a journey to the Eastern Front of World War II to explore one of the most pivotal battles in modern history, the Battle of Kursk. This epic clash of steel and wills, fought between the German Wehrmacht and the Soviet Red Army, would prove to be a turning point in the war, a moment when the fate of Europe hung precariously in the balance. In the summer of 1942, the German army, under the command of Adolf Hitler, launched a massive campaign to capture the city of Stalingrad, a strategic industrial and logistical hub on the Volga River. The Soviet Union, still reeling from the devastating losses of the previous year, was determined to hold the city at all costs. The ensuing battle would become one of the bloodiest in human history, with over 1 million casualties on both sides. As the Battle of Stalingrad raged on, the German High Command began to shift its attention to the Kursk salient, a bulge in the Soviet lines that protruded deep into German-occupied territory. This salient, centered around the city of Kursk, was a constant thorn in the side of the German army as it threatened their communications and supply lines. The Germans saw an opportunity to eliminate this threat and in the process deal a crushing blow to the Soviet Union. In the spring of 1943, the German army began to mobilize its forces for a massive assault on the Kursk salient. The plan, codenamed Operation Citadel, called for a pincer movement with 2 powerful armored thrusts, one from the north and one from the south, aimed at encircling and destroying the Soviet forces within the salient. The Germans assembled a formidable array of armor, including the new Tiger and Panther tanks, which they believed would give them a decisive advantage on the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union was not idle. Joseph Stalin, aware of the impending German attack, had ordered his generals to prepare a robust defense of the Kursk salient. The Soviets had been busy fortifying their positions, constructing elaborate networks of trenches, bunkers, and anti-tank traps. They also amassed a vast array of artillery, including the fearsome Katyusha rocket launchers, which would play a crucial role in the upcoming battle. As the German army began to concentrate its forces around the Kursk salient, the Soviet Union launched a series of probing attacks aimed at disrupting the German preparations and gaining valuable intelligence on their enemies' dispositions. These skirmishes, though limited in scope, would provide a glimpse into the ferocity and intensity that would soon characterize the Battle of Kursk. In the months leading up to the battle, both sides engaged in an intense game of cat and mouse, each trying to outmaneuver the other. The Germans, confident in their superior armor and tactical prowess, believed they could break through the Soviet lines and achieve a decisive victory. The Soviets, on the other hand, were determined to hold their ground, using every trick in the book to wear down the German army and bleed it white. On July 5, 1943, the German army launched Operation Citadel with a massive artillery barrage that shattered the calm of the Russian steppe. The Soviet forces, huddled in their trenches and bunkers, waited anxiously for the onslaught to begin. As the first waves of German armor rolled forward, they were met with a wall of fire from the Soviet artillery, which had been carefully calibrated to strike at the precise moment when the Germans were most vulnerable. The initial German thrust, led by the Ninth Army under General Walter Model, aimed to break through the Soviet lines north of Kursk. However, they soon found themselves entangled in a maze of minefields and anti-tank traps, cleverly laid out by the Soviets to funnel the German tanks into killing zones. The Katyusha rocket launchers, with their distinctive Stalin's organs nickname, proved particularly effective in ripping apart the German armor, sending shrapnel flying in all directions and reducing the once mighty Tiger tanks to smoldering wrecks. Meanwhile, to the south, the 4th Panzer Army under General Hermann Hoth launched a simultaneous assault, hoping to catch the Soviets off guard. However, they too were met with fierce resistance, as the Soviet forces had anticipated this move and prepared a series of defensive strongpoints to channel the German advance into narrow corridors of fire. As the battle raged on, the Germans began to realize that their intelligence had underestimated the sheer scale of the Soviet defenses, which seemed to stretch on forever like an endless labyrinth. One notable example of the ferocity of the fighting was the clash between the German 3rd Panzer Division and the Soviet 2nd Tank Corps on July 7, 1943. As the Germans attempted to break through the Soviet lines near the village of Pokrovka, they were confronted by a wall of T-34 tanks which had been carefully positioned to ambush the German armor. The ensuing battle was a chaotic melee of steel and fire, with both sides trading blows in a frenzy of destruction. In the end, the Germans managed to extricate themselves from the killing zone, but not before suffering heavy losses in men and machines. As the battle entered its second week, the Soviet forces began to gain the upper hand, as their defenses continued to hold firm against the relentless German onslaught. The Luftwaffe, which had initially dominated the skies above Kursk, was gradually worn down by the Soviet air defense systems, which included a plethora of anti-aircraft guns and interceptors. By July 12, 1943, the Germans had lost over 500 aircraft, a staggering blow to their aerial superiority. As the German air superiority waned, their ground forces began to falter as well. The Soviet defenses, having withstood the initial onslaught, started to push back against the exhausted German army. On July 12, 1943, the Soviets launched a counterattack codenamed Operation Kutuzov, which aimed to encircle and destroy the German Ninth Army. The counterattack was led by General Konstantin Rokossovsky's Central Front, which had been reinforced with fresh troops and equipment. The Soviet counterattack caught the Germans off guard, and they were quickly forced to retreat from their advanced positions. As they fell back, the Soviets pursued them relentlessly, inflicting heavy casualties and capturing large amounts of equipment. By July 23, 1943, the German Ninth Army had been pushed back to its starting positions, and the Soviet forces had gained a significant advantage. The Battle of Kursk ultimately concluded on August 23, 1943, with the Soviet Union emerging victorious. The Germans had suffered over 500,000 casualties, including many experienced officers and men, while the Soviets had lost around 700,000 soldiers. Although the Soviet losses were higher, they had successfully defended their territory and gained a crucial strategic advantage. In the words of General Georgy Zhukov, the Battle of Kursk was a turning point in the war on the Eastern Front. It marked the beginning of the end of the German army's offensive capabilities and paved the way for our eventual victory. The battle marked a significant shift in the balance of power on the Eastern Front, as the Soviet Union began to push the Germans back towards their own borders. Today, the Battle of Kursk is remembered as one of the largest and most decisive battles in history. It is celebrated in Russia as a symbol of Soviet bravery and resilience, and it serves as a reminder of the devastating consequences of war. The battle has been the subject of numerous books, films, and documentaries, and it continues to fascinate historians and military strategists around the world. The legacy of the Battle of Kursk can be seen in the modern Russian military, which still studies the tactics and strategies employed by the Soviet forces during the battle. The battle also serves as a reminder of the importance of defensive warfare and the need for effective logistics and supply chain management. As the Russian historian Nikolai Inozemtsev noted, the Battle of Kursk was a testament to the power of defensive warfare, and it demonstrated that even the most powerful enemy can be defeated with determination, courage, and clever tactics. The battle serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of diplomacy, international cooperation, and the need to work towards a more peaceful and stable world. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, remember that, to understand the present, we must first understand the past.